This is one of my pet peeves. So this is the High Country.
Right.
This is like the best of the best. And yet, there's a button blank right there.
There is.
Yep. So what's that supposed to be? Hello, viewers. I'm here in the 2022 Chevrolet Silverado High Country with my good friend Tim Esterdahl from Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk.
I decided that my last name was hard enough to say.
Yes.
I should make my channel name just equally as hard.
Yes, and you succeeded. But luckily, you have merch.
I do.
So click the link in the description below so you can go buy some of Timmy's truck merch.
Right.
I think that's what your merch store should be called.
Spell it out.
It should be called Timmy's Truck Merch.
This is the 2022 model year. It's a refreshed version of this truck. There's also a 2022 Chevrolet Silverado that's called Limited, LTD. Now that is the prior generation interior with this model year name. So
yeah, it was built in 2022, but it's old.
Right.
And this is built in 2022, but it's new.
Exactly.
So don't buy the limited one, even though that other truck brand calls their top-of-the-line truck limited. So it's not confusing at all.
No, not at all. But the big keys to this truck are going to be very simple. As soon as you get into it, oh my gosh, everything's
all this
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's what they should have done in 2019. They finally did it in 2022. It's a home run, I think, across the board. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You have different screens you put behind the IP for the driver, the big Google-based system here for the big 14-inch, 15-inch screen, what it is.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's low profile, doesn't mess up your visibility.
Storage up here.
The storage, yeah. We have the fart button still.
Yeah, I like that.
Gotta have the fart button. This grain on here for this
real
hidden
wood.
Yeah, this is so much better. Last time it was a copycat of this on top. The thing was, it wasn't competitive. It wasn't competitive in class at all.
No,
and so
the F-150 has big screen, all sorts of niceties.
Ram had a huge screen.
Huge screen, all sorts of niceties. This is one of my pet peeves. You know I have many pet peeves. So this is the High Country.
Right.
This is like the best of the best. And yet, there's a button blank right there.
There is.
Yep. So what's that supposed to be?
Is it like the Hummer button that they don't know what to do with it?
Maybe?
I don't know. What I was surprised with was right here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised there's no panel.
Yeah, I think that's another.
And maybe there is. Maybe this one didn't order with the whatever, but I was.
No, I don't believe there is a panel.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
You do have extra headroom in the back.
You're right.
Carve out
the
roof, but other than that.
And some people like panels, some people don't like panels. I mean, it's to each their own. But
who doesn't like a giant?
Arizona actually.
Okay.
I found this out, because it's so hot.
Yeah.
So even if you do like that cloth, like that thin cloth over the panel, like I think Mini Coopers do, it still fries your head. So there's people that use these trucks for work a lot. They're over top of construction zones and things like that. They don't want something falling into the glass. And I don't know.
And impaling on your head.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem.
The exterior, they say, has been changed in many, many ways that are important, but really it's new headlights and taillights, right?
Headlights, they moved the fog lamps down. The fascia is a little bit different.
Yeah.
The prior generation had like a little empty fascia like opening there for like airflow or something like that. This one has a lot better. I think if you were to throw up some comparison videos or photos on your screen and look at them side by side.
Yeah? Should I do that?
Yeah.
Like here on the left.
Yeah.
Is the old one, and on the right is the new one.
Yeah, get your editing figured out. It does. You can see differences there. It does make a difference.
This is really nice. So we should get into the tech stuff really quick because I know that's stuff you care about. So you got Super Cruise, which is nice, and it's finally here. And then this big screen is running Android Automotive, which is different from Android Auto. And so it's got Google Assistant built in, and it's got Google Maps built in, and all kinds of niceties. And it will be able to install all manner of apps once they start coming out. So you got Google Podcasts and Google News so far. In the long run, there's going to be apps for Spotify and Netflix and YouTube and all that. So like you could watch YouTube while you're parked, for example.
Yeah, there's
the work truck.
There's been a lot of conversations about that with the Tundra as well. And the Ford, I had my Power Boost had the same conversation. What I've learned is there's an extra device you can buy. You plug it into the USB or the OBD2 sensor, and actually will let you do YouTube on here without having to go through different apps.
Interesting.
Yeah, I should say link this thing. It's a separate product. People, Benzie or something like that, and you can actually do that right now with these screens, because there's a lot of concerns like driving, right?
Watch a video while you're driving.
I mean,
nobody would ever do that, nor would we text and drive.
Exactly. So, but there are ways to make that happen. I just don't. maybe it's just me. I think I think people like it, that it's cool. Something you can do, oh, look what my truck can do. But I don't find it very, I don't know. I don't find it very useful.
Yeah, but a lot of people will listen to podcasts and things while they drive.
Yeah.
And so if you have Spotify, if you have Google Podcasts, if you've got, YouTube, you can watch or listen to shows while you're driving along.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. And so the interesting thing is that Android Automotive, the platform, you can think of it as like Android on a smartphone, except it has GM's skin on top of it. So this is GM's buttons, and these are all actual apps. So there's the cameras app and the audio app and whatever. And then you can go into, well, here's the Google Play Store. And so for your safety, you have to be fine. So you can't surf the Google Play Store while you're driving. I guess that makes sense.
You guess that makes sense?
I guess that makes sense. Safety first, kids. This is running Android Automotive, which is a platform by Google. And basically what it means is that Google has handled the back-end stuff in here to make like the fancy graphics work. And it's also used by Ford and Volvo and Stellantis, which is Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, all those guys. So if you're a developer, like if you're Netflix or Spotify or whatever, you only have to write one app for all those cars. Whereas before, they would have had to write a Spotify app for Ford's system and a Spotify app for GM's system, and basically they wouldn't have written a Spotify app. Maybe Spotify would have because they're so big, but there's lots of other things. And so now developers are going to be able to write one app and put it on all of those vehicles. So like MLB, make an app for MLB.TV. So you wouldn't necessarily have to use the one on your phone. It would just be built in to this. And so that's kind of interesting because the lower level of this infotainment system is not going to be a differentiator for these companies anymore.
No.
It's just going to be the user interface on top.
Yeah, it seems like that's been a question for a long period of time, right? Why are they developing their own in-house infotainment systems when their software is there from other companies?
Right, or you're just going to plug in your phone and use CarPlay or Android Auto.
And you can do that. It just makes it weird as far as why not use the system that's provided to you, you know? You paid all this money for a truck, right? So this is probably 75, maybe 80,000 for this truck. You paid all this money for this truck. Why not use the system they gave you? Why have to just always just ignore it?
Yeah, because people want to use their phone. So instead of GM spending $2 billion developing an infotainment system, that all you're going to do is come along and plug your phone in and use Apple's, it doesn't matter how much money GM spends on that system. Apple has spent more, probably by a factor of 10, developing the user interface and everything that's in the iPhone, and Google's the same way with Android, which is why so many people prefer Android Auto or whatever. And so this allows them to not spend all that money developing a system, and you end up with something that's better and faster and includes Google Maps and all these apps and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fast. I love the side screen here. So you can do different stuff, trailer, music, you can do maps, stuff like that. I love the clock. I really like the clock. So we have the home button, which is exciting, and we have a volume knob.
Also exciting.
Also exciting.
The things don't have that.
Right. The new Tundra doesn't have that. So you have no home button with that. So I think those are critical things.
Get a knob. Yep. Volume knob.
Yep. Volume knob. Home button.
Like that.
The seats. Is this your pet peeve or just my pet peeve?
What?
GM seats physically hurt me on long distance trips.
No, they don't mind me. I don't mind them.
How long have you driven? Like hundreds of miles with these?
It's probably the longest I've done in one of these is 4 hours.
Yeah. See, anything beyond like a couple hundred miles, man, it's stiff as a board. It starts getting really stiff.
Yeah.
Now this seat has new piping on it, new stitching on it.
Yep.
We are told
extra leather
that the ZR2 has different seats.
Yeah, it looks.
And we're really excited to see those tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Click here for that video.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know.
Over time.
Yeah.
Actually, I drove a 2500 just last week, and I threw a pillow in there, so I had a 100-mile drive.
Wow. You're an old man.
I tell you what, they
my
hurt
back!
Me.
I need to take my back pill.
I'm telling you. So I'm excited to see if that is a change. I did have a guy tell me online. He says, "You know what?" He says, "Actually, you were right." I said, "Really?"
Wow.
I mean,
first time.
Right. And he said, "Look," he goes, "I had a Sierra Denali for 5 years. I sold it and bought a new Tundra. And the first 800 miles of Tundra, I realized the seats were that much better in the Tundra."
Wow.
And even now, I can feel. I know. My butt's telling me it's coming. I know it. That's what's telling me it's coming. So, but that's probably, honestly, out of, I think GM builds a really solid product. They've had some.
This has fixed their main problem.
Yeah, they have addressed their issues, and so I feel like they're really solid, really quiet, triple sealed door still.
Yeah.
It's
It's
quiet
windy
interior.
as all
that
get
good?
out right now.
You can't
but
tell.
you can't really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really
other
comfortable.
than yeah.
So I only have the one thing left: Chevrolet and GMC seats. Once you solve that, man, I'm all in.
You're all in.
I'm all in. Super Cruise.
Yeah, we're gonna do
We're
that.
gonna do Super
We're gonna
Cruise.
Scare you.
That's new for this model year, and it has Super Cruise with lane changing. There is Super Cruise with trailering, but you don't have lane changing. So that's
Yeah, you get one or the other. Okay,
get one or
so we are super cruising. Does this creep you out?
I just don't know what to do.
Because the Blue Cruise, you just sit here.
I know, it's just kind of confusing.
So what Super Cruise does is it handles the steering for you on limited access highways.
Yes.
So AKA interstates and the like. And now it's going to change lanes without me doing anything. It saw that the car in front of us was going too slow. And so it changed lanes and moved us over.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice feature. I just I can see long distance driving, less fatiguing.
Yeah.
Drive to work, I can see that.
Yeah, if you gotta drive on the highway.
If you're consistent routes, I still like to drive, and so I still
You like to
want
drive on the highway though?
I still want the manual control. Well, and especially depending where where we're at. Like, so I'm in western Nebraska,
Yes.
and we had some situations in the highway. I had Blue Cruise on in the highway,
Yes.
and it
Which
freaked
is
me
Ford's
out.
version.
Ford's version freaked me out.
Which we should note, Ford's version is not as good
Okay.
as GM's version.
See, you know more about that than I do.
Yeah.
I just know it was freaky. And I will say something about Super Cruise I just noticed is that Super Cruise is really good for YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk and do our thing.
Gesture,
We can do the
stuff.
Jill thing and not have to worry about
Yeah.
driving.
Super Cruise versus Blue Cruise. You drove Blue Cruise in Nebraska, and it did some stuff that kind of freaked you out. It didn't quite stay in the lane or whatever. So Blue Cruise, which is Ford's system, which is called Active Glide in the Navigator, uses the cameras that are up here,
Yep.
looks at the lane lines, and handles the steering to keep you between the lanes.
Okay.
That's all it does. And it looks at a map for GPS to determine whether it can turn itself on or off.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all Blue Cruise does currently. What Super Cruise does that's different is it has a previously made LiDAR map of the world. So it knows basically where that, guardrail is and things like that. And then it uses that to verify its position in the lane.
Okay.
So it's using the cameras to look in the lane, and then it's using that pre-established map to say, am I where I think I am on this road?
Okay.
That is why it seems so much better. And it's driving it along. Because not only is it looking at the lane lines and saying, okay, this is where I need to be, but it's verifying that based on that LiDAR map,
Okay.
that LiDAR generated map.
So what is
So
that?
Super Cruise is more advanced.
Right, but at the end of the day, what's that mean for consumers? Simple terms, which I know sometimes is hard for this guy, but simple terms, what's it mean?
It means that if you drive the Super Cruise system, you're going to be more confident in it because it seems more confident in what it's doing.
There you go. Hashtag, the more you know.
Exactly. And so, because basically the problem is, like you said, you drove Blue Cruise, and even if 99% of the time it's great, if 1% of the time it freaks you out a bit, you're not going to feel confident in it and you're not going to use it.
Correct.
So you need to feel confident in what it's doing in order to utilize the system to its fullest potential.
Well, that and the fact I had to drive an hour to get an interstate to be able to use it.
Yeah, you live in Nebraska. That's what you get.
I had to drive down I-80, which I'm an hour north of that. So, yeah, I can see people in the different places of the country using it more.
Yeah.
And the thing that's really cool with Super Cruise and Blue Cruise is also the same idea, is that it's not like a whole bunch of hop, skip, jump, steps, and things like this. And you can turn that and do that. It's really kind of simple how it works.
Yeah. Basically, you have to turn on the cruise control, which I discovered is annoying. You have to press that. And then you have to press the Super Cruise button.
And then the little green steering wheel pops up, and you're done.
And you get a green light here on top of the steering wheel, which is an excellent way to indicate what the heck the system is doing and is far superior to Ford's way of changing the whole background of
Yeah.
the infotainment screen. This is easier to notice up here. So this is really nice.
Yeah, I just was surprised how easy it was. Like I was expecting, it to be more difficult, and it really wasn't.
Did you just drive Super Cruise earlier?
I drove Super Cruise, and then I drove Blue Cruise, and I thought Blue Cruise was a little bit harder to set up, by a touch, by a smidgen.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, both systems are really simple. Like, I think you would end up using Super Cruise more often, and Blue Cruise more often than you think you would, just because.
Yeah. Anytime
it
you're on
just
the
turns
highway.
on. It's like, oh, you're like, all right, I might as well use it. I mean, you're almost having to stop yourself from using it.
Yeah.
That's how easy it was.
Do you remember the first time you used Adaptive Cruise?
Yes.
I feel like it's like that.
I do
Where it's
too.
like, oh, how much of an advantage is it really for me to not have to hit the brake pedal when we're coming up on
Right,
traffic?
right.
And you think, oh, geez, it's not a big deal. And then you get on the highway and you realize, oh, this is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I can drive 180 miles and never touch the gas or brake.
Right. And so now, not only do you not touch the gas or brake for that 180 miles, you don't touch the steering wheel either.
And here's my biggest point of view with Super Cruise or Ford's Blue Cruise or Super Cruise overall. Interstate driving, okay, fine, fair enough. Texas,
Yep.
Nebraska, whatever.
Yep.
The game changer for me is Super Cruise towing a trailer.
Yes.
You can tow a trailer with this system, and the thing is, like, highway driving fatiguing after like 7-8 hours.
Yep.
You get really tired. Okay, Super Cruise would be a little bit better for that, maybe go a little bit longer, whatever. Towing a trailer on that 8 hours, that's really fatiguing.
Yes.
And so having the ability to do that, and that's going to roll out across all the 3/4 tons, 1 tons. It's going to be all over all of them. And having be able to do that, so you can imagine like towing your camper across Texas someplace, and being able to just have the truck drive it across the interstates.
Yeah. And it's not just, it's regular Super Cruise towing a trailer. It's more complicated than that because they've taken into account, for example, in regular Super Cruise, it basically tries to keep you in the center of the lane.
Right.
More or less. When you're on a corner, it's going to cut the corner a little bit and move you closer to that left-hand line.
Right.
And that's with, just the regular Super Cruise. With a trailer, it's going to do that even further. And it's going to take into account where the end of the trailer is because you have told the computer how long your trailer is.
Yes.
So it knows how long you are in total, and it's going to move you around within the lane to keep you more comfortable and also more confident in the system.
Yep.
So it's taking into account all that stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Super Cruise trailering makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense for me. And again, I'm talking about like RV haulers.
Yep.
That's a job in this country. Mima and Papa with their big 1-ton
Driving 12 hours.
12 hours, whatever. I think that's a huge, benefit. Yeah, I think that's the game changer. I'm not so sold on Super Cruise as a daily activity on interstate unless you are driving to work every day, the same trip. You don't, you're bored, whatever. Or if you're driving along and you want to eat something or you want to, you want to
Not
relax.
that you should do that
Not
while
you
you're
should do that,
super cruising,
but
because you should be.
Right, but if you want to relax a little bit and not be so tied into like a long distance drive, I can see that happening. But
Yep.
I think in an everyday atmosphere, if I was in Dallas, going to run the interstate a little bit, run to the grocery store, run to the mall, whatever, probably not something I'm going to turn on. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Not something I'm really.
I think we need to go on a road trip and super cruise it.
As long as I have
See what you think.
a pillow.
Yeah, we can get you a pillow.
I need a big pillow.
Sure. We'll get you a big pillow,
You
and then you
promise?
can have a dream
You
that you
promise?
ate a marshmallow, and then in the morning your pillow was gone.
Aw. He's not very nice.
I mean, you're the one who ate your pillow. So Super Cruise, I think you're right, is a game changer, and basically the new version of it has two main features. One is the auto lane change that we saw.
Yep.
When if the car in front of you is going slow, it will automatically, without you doing anything, make sure the lane change is safe, change, go past, move back over.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have that, or you can have trailering.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have both.
There you go.
So there you go. Super Cruise in a truck. But this is the new Silverado High Country 2022. New interior, which is awesome. I think Chevy's now competitive. Safe to say? So
Absolutely.
no big, other than the seats,
Seats, that's it.
which I think are fine. But maybe I need to go on a longer road trip.
Yeah, I mean, that's my only thing. I mean, I think the trucks are beautiful looking. I think they have great style. The interior's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
fantastic.
outside looks good. Inside looks good. This screen's good. It's fast. It's responsive. Everything's... The only thing I have a problem with, I think, is the park button on here. Because if you go and rest your hand on it, it puts you in park.
Yeah.
And if you're on the highway and do that, it complains at you. Luckily, it doesn't put you in park at 70 miles an hour. But it complains at you. And the button blank, you're right.
I was like,
The
I
button
know the
blank, that's more of an annoyance than this. Because this, all it does is yell at you for trying to change into park on the highway.
Okay.
That you got to look at. I feel like
We
that's
nailed
got to
it?
be a chip shortage.
I feel like we nailed it. Oh.
The whole thing? Us?
Maybe, yeah.
You mean on the video?
Yeah, the video. Yeah.
The video. Yeah. Like and subscribe. Pick up Truck Plus SUV Talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Cool.
Thanks, guys. Drive safely. Content.
Content.